We all love a bit of eye candy and music for our ears, and today's OBS plugins will add all that to your live streams. A lot of the plugin videos I do are centered around making your streams easier to produce. But today I'm gonna go full visual and audio nirvana with the plugins I show you. Let's face it, you can't have a lame looking live stream these days. Anyone can do that. To stand out, you have to step up your game. So I dug deep into the OBS plugins page to find some diamonds that are easy to set up and use. And I think these plugins are gonna transform your stream. We have a lot to get to today, so you know what? Let's get to it! Hello my YouTube friends! All these plugins are 100% totally free, and the links are in the description so you can download each one and follow along. That is the best way to learn. The visual plugins I'm going to show you today all build on top of one another to create some awesome effects. I put them all together at the end for something truly awesome, so you want to stick around and see that for sure. But let's jump right into the first one, the Advanced Mask plugin. Here is the Advanced Masks plugin page, and we just need to go to downloads here. It's going to bring up this box, and we have Linux, Mac, Windows Installer, and Windows Zip. The easiest one for me is the Windows Installer. The Mac and the Linux one are zip files. They're pretty easy to install as well. Just going to click the download and we'll get it downloaded on our system. We just then need to go to our downloads page. We'll right click and we're going to extract all. Then we can just go in here and run our installer, and it's going to come up with this because it's an unsigned program. We just go to more info and run anyway. You're going to get an administrative prompt which you can't see, but just click yes, and then it's going to ask you for your OBS directory. Yours is probably going to be in C program files /OBS-studio. Mine is on its own separate drive. So once you find it, you just click next, and it's going to ask you if you want to rename it. Advanced Masks is fine. Next, and install, and finish. And now we have Advanced Masks installed on our system. Alright, so what can you do with Advanced Mask? This is really cool. So I can take this camera right here, I can right click it and go to filters, and we'll click the plus, and I'm going to go to Advanced Mask. And right off the bat you could see that we've got alpha mask and shape, and currently the shape is a rectangle. So look at that. Now just to show you how this works, I'm going to go ahead and click the plus, and I'm going to put a video in here behind us. So we'll go to media sources. I'm going to call this BG and click OK, and I'm just going to browse, and I'm just going to select a little background video. We'll loop it, put it back there. So now you can see what that looks like, and we're going to put that below our camera. So there you go. So now we have our camera in a square, and here's what we could do. So we can move that camera around, we can move it up and down. So maybe we want it over there, and we want it over here a little bit, and then we can change the rotation, which is really cool. Put that at 0. But we can change the width. So maybe we want the box a little bit wider, we want it a little taller, and then we'll just move it down like that. We can zoom in the camera, which is really, really cool. Let me go ahead and put that at 100%, and there we go. So if we just wanted to use a simple mask like that, they're pre-created in here. But we can go ahead and go down here. I'm going to just set the defaults and click yes, and we can change the shape. So we can get a circle or an ellipse, polygon, a star, or even a heart. And of course you can change the rotation and shape of all of this stuff just the same way as the first one. So it makes it super easy to just create a simple mask that you could use right out of the box. So if you have a game stream or something like that, let's go ahead and just mute this background, and let's create another scene called game. And what I'm going to do is click the plus. We're just going to put an image of a game in here. so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And there we go. So we've got our game scene, and then I can just click the plus, and I can go and load in our other scene, scene 1, and I've got a cool camera mask already. So I can just shrink this down and put it wherever I want. It's a really simple way to just create a simple camera mask that's going to look awesome. But of course, you can create your own. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to go back in here into scene, go back into our cam and our filters and camera mask, and instead of selecting shape, we can select an image. Then I just have to browse to the image, and in this case it's just a black elephant shape on an alpha background. And so when you load that image in there, that's what you get. So we can have any kind of crazy shape that we want, and as you can see, now our camera is shaped like an elephant. But the beautiful thing about this is we can also do moving ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another scene, and I'm going to load a motion mask. So we're going to go to media source, and I'm going to go to here, and we're going to load a mask. Now I used a green screen background on this mask, as you can see right here, and we obviously don't want the green screen, so I'm just going to make that alpha by right clicking here and going into filters and clicking the plus, and we're going to use chroma key and click OK. We're going to chroma out that green screen and click close. So now our scene 3 right here is that chroma keyed green screen. So we're going to go into scene, we're going to click cam and right click and go to filters, and we're going to go ahead and change this from image to source, and our source, we're going to go ahead and make that second media source. Let's see, what is it actually called? Media source 2. So we're going to make that source our media source 2. And there we go. Now we don't see anything here just yet, and that's because this has like a weird effect that keeps it from happening. So if I click the plus here and I go to media source, and I go ahead and just load that media source into this directory right here, and boom, next thing you know, we have our thing. Now it looks a little weird right here. I give you that. We move this down below our camera. There we go. And then if we go into our game scene, you can see it looks perfectly. Now we have a motion mask, and they're really easy to create. I've already done videos on how to do it, and I'll link one of those at the end of this video. But this is a super easy plugin that can create all kinds of really cool masks right out of the box, or even use motion masks or image masks that you created yourself. Super simple. You hardly have to do anything and create awesome effects just like this. That plugin goes together really well with the next one. It's the Stroke, Glow, and Shadow plugin. Now the Stroke, Glow, and Shadow installs exactly like the first when you've got your Mac, your Linux, your Windows installer, and your Windows zip file. You just click download and follow the same instructions as you did for the first plugin that I showed you how to install. It's not any more complicated than that. Now here's how you're going to use something like this. I think it's really cool to use in conjunction with the one that we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and go into filters, and I'm just going to quickly load up another advanced mask. I'm going to click OK, and let's go with a shape, and we're going to go with a circle just like that. Really don't need to get any more complicated than that. I'm going to click the plus, and I'm going to go with a media source. This will make it a lot easier to see what we're looking at here. And click the plus and just put a background in here. We'll loop it. Click OK. Move that below our camera. So now to add any of these things, we're just going to right click and we're going to go to filters. And you're going to see that if we wanted to add glow, it's right here. If we want to add stroke, it is right here, or shadow. So let's try stroke first. Click the plus, and we can basically put an outline around our mask. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So we can select the color of our outline from black to yellow to whatever we want. And then we can adjust the stroke size. And there we go. Pretty cool stuff. So let's go ahead and remove that. And we'll add the shadow. And this is going to function like a drop shadow. So you can see the drop shadow over in that area there. So we can adjust the size of it to expand it a little bit. The intensity and the light angle. So I like it going that way. And we can adjust the shadow distance. So I think that adds such a cool effect to this. And where I think something like this really works is, let's remove our advanced mask, and instead what I'm going to do is go ahead and click the plus, and I'm going to do our NVIDIA background removal and click OK. And there we go. So now we're going to have a drop shadow. All we have to do is move this to the right order, and there we go. So now we have a pretty cool drop shadow around us. But we can go a little farther than that. I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and let's go and click the plus, and I'm going to go to glow, and now we can add a nifty glow around us. So we can go with outer glow, we can go with inner glow, the blur type, and then we can adjust the size, and there we go, and the intensity, and let's adjust the color. Let's get ourselves that nifty yellow color again. There we go. Boom. So now we got an awesome glow around us, and we can add drop shadow to that glow. So we've got the glow in there, and we click the plus, and we can go ahead and add a shadow to that as well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust the size of our shadow up because we do have a pretty decent amount of glow. I'm going to add some shadow distance to bring it out, and the light angle, I still like it over in that direction right there, and adjust the size and the intensity and the distance, and there we go. So now we have a really nice, we can even adjust the color of the shadow. But now, like, this makes us look more grounded to the scene. So if we wanted to just put a regular scene, it'll make it look like it's throwing a shadow. That also gives us glow. And of course, the stroke will work with this as well. You can really come up with some absolutely incredible styles of cameras and do all kinds of really epic things when you combine the masks with this stroke feature. It's absolutely incredible, and it's so easy to use. Now those two go really well when used with the next plugin I want to show you. It's the 3D Effect plugin. This is the 3D Effect, and if you go to download, it is exactly the same as the other two that we've already installed. So you just download the appropriate installer and install it the same way that you did the others, and you won't have any problems at all. So what the 3D Effect allows you to do is a lot of cool things with the camera or an image. So we could do it on this or an image. Let's go ahead and mess around with our camera first. So we'll go ahead and right click, and we're going to go into filters. We're going to click the plus, and we're going to go to 3D Effect here at the top and click OK. And what I'm going to do is first we'll try perspective mode, and we can adjust it, and you can see what that does. And that's just so if we rotate it like this, you know, you may not want it going outside of your bounding box. So you could just adjust your perspective like that so that it doesn't go outside your bounding box. And we can rotate it in any of the directions that we want. So we can basically have a camera set up like that, and we can rotate it this way as well. So these are actual positions that you can place your camera at if you want to use something like that. But it makes it pretty easy to adjust your camera kind of in a 3D space sort of way. So I can put it like that. I can adjust this axis here and kind of just line it with the top if I want. And we'll pull that perspective in a little bit. And there we go. So you can see that this has all kinds of different ways that you can set up your camera, or we could also do our background image pretty easily. We can select that. We can go to filters and 3D effect, And we'll pull this out a little bit. And we can adjust the perspective on that as well. So we could make it look like that. And then we can just move it up like that. And it gives it a little bit of a different type of movement. So you can use this to adjust images, videos, anything that you want, and add a little bit of interesting, different perspective to it. In fact, we can go in here and we could just adjust the perspective like that. And there we go. So now the stuff is all moving in kind of a different direction, even coming right at us in some ways, which it may not have been doing before. So that's pretty cool. It's a really interesting way to radically adjust videos, images, anything like that, to add a little bit of 3D perspective. Now we'll go ahead and hit the default on that. Close it out. We'll go back into the camera properties, or the camera filters. With 3D effect, we'll go ahead and hit the default on that as well. And then we'll go and we'll check orthographic. And this kind of keeps your images square. So if I do an X rotation, it's going to kind of rotate from the top down like that. So it's not really doing the same thing. It's a little bit different. And we can rotate it like that. Now you'll notice it does cut off the stuff. You can't adjust your field of view in this one. So if I go like this and I go like that, you can see the top of these are all cut off. So it's something that you might want to do full screen. So if I go and I go to our transform, reset the transform, I can put it full screen like that. And then when you rotate it or do something like that, it will just look like it's going off the screen. Pretty cool stuff. You could use this in conjunction with different aspects of the move transition to probably do some really cool things. So that is perspective and orthographic in a 3D effect, and it's really cool. There are so many neat things that you can do with this one. Now for the next one, we're going to step into the audio booth, and this one's been requested for a long time on this channel. It's called Tuna, and it gives you a way to display album covers, titles, and artists right on your stream in real time. This one is really cool, and all we have to do is go to the download, and we're going to scroll down here, and you see you've got Linux, Mac OS, Windows 64. You've got the zip, the Windows 86 install. Just select the one that best represents what you're trying to do. In my case, it's the Windows 64 installer. When I click it, it's going to go ahead and download. Then all I have to do is go into my downloads, double click it. We're going to get an administrative prompt that you can't see, but just click yes, then next, and make sure that this is the directory that your OBS is in, and click next. And then it's going to tell you what it's going to name it. Click next and install and finish. And now Tuna is installed and ready to use. Now that we have Tuna installed, let's see how we set it up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a music directory here. And I'm going to use this as a nested scene. So I'm going to call it ns-tuna. And there we go. So this just creates a blank scene for us to use to create how we want everything to look. I'm going to go into tunes and Tuna settings, and the basics we're going to configure in a second, but first we're going to connect to Spotify. So we need an authentication code. We can just open the login page and it'll take us right here. Now there's going to be a couple of things that you have to agree to before you can get this to come up, and then we just basically copy this. And we can go back into our OBS here and just paste in the authentication code. Now you can see I'm already logged in, which just shows you that I did that. But when you do that, then you just request a token and all this stuff will fill in. It will log in. You'll be set. You just apply. And then we're going to go over here to the basics. Now you want to fetch the album cover, and you want to select a path that you want your album cover to be saved. So we have that right there. And then the information as to how big you want your album cover to be. And then this is going to be the information that we can put up about our title and everything else. Or what you want to do is go ahead and add a new one. And we want to do, let's say, the album name and the artist name. But I think we want to do actually the song and the artist. So let's go ahead and start with the artist. And all you have to do is use this symbol right here and artist and this symbol right here. And we want to select where we want the path to go. So where do we want this to go? We're going to go ahead and select here. And I've already got a couple of these set up. So this one will be Spotify. And it's just a text file that it creates. So we got Spotify text. And we have to make that an A like that. Artist. And there we go. Yep, it helps if you spell all these properly. And it tells you what the variable is right here. So artists right there. And then we want our song title. So now playing or title. So we're going to go ahead and just click OK on that. And you can see we've got a text file going to be created for our artist. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and add a new one. And we'll just select a path for this one. In this case, we're going to use the Spotify 2. And we're going to go with title and click OK. And then all we need to do is start our Tuna server. So now our Tuna server's running and we are connected to Spotify, which means all we should have to do is open Spotify to start receiving information. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and send this audio to my headphones, because otherwise I'll get smacked down for it. We'll go in here and we're going to go ahead and select this one right here. We'll just start playing it. And now we can set up our scene. So we're getting our stuff, we're getting our music. So in the scene, what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is add an application capture so that we get our audio. And I'm just going to drop this down and I'm going to select Spotify right here and boom. So we can see that we're getting our music. And you can adjust the audio to any level you want. Now we know our cover is being sent here, cover PNG. But first, let's go ahead and add in a very cool thing. It's called the Tuna Progress Bar. Now this is a bar that's just going to continue to fill up while the music runs. So that's the run time of the actual song. Pretty cool. Now I'm just going to go into this location right here, which is this, and here's our cover. And it's beautiful how OBS will do this. If we just drag this on there, and boom, it will create our cover for us. So now we have a cover, and we have our music playing here in this box. So we just need to add our artist and our title. So it's pretty easy to do. We're going to go ahead and click the plus. We're going to add a text file. And we'll just call this artist and click OK. And we can select our font. You guys know I like this font right here. It's one of my favorites. We're going to read it from a file. And we're just going to browse to this file, which we know this is just the Spotify one. That should be our artist. And there we go. And we can click OK. And once that comes in, we're going to be able to see our artist listed right there. It does take a moment for it to come up. While we're waiting, we'll just go ahead and we'll do our title as well. So we're going to click that and we're going to go to GDI text and we'll do title and click OK. And we're going to select the same font. OK. And we're going to read from file, and this file is going to be the Spotify 2. Click open and OK. So now we will be able to get our text for both of these. And what I'm going to do is go back into Spotify here and I'm going to refresh it and see if we're going to be getting our text here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just change the song here and everything should update. There we go. So now we've got our title and our text. So what I can do is go and move this down and fit it to the spots that we're going to have it in. And there we go. So this is what this would look like. adjust the sizes here a little better so they match a touch better. All right, so there we go. Now what we can do is we can go back to any scene that we want. We can click the plus. We can add in our scene for our tuna, and boom. We have everything for the song, the title, and the length already in there. And you'll see it's pretty responsive once you do this. I can change to another song, and within moments it changes the album, it changes the song title, and you can see the progress going up here. And it doesn't really matter what artist we're talking about. If I select another artist and I click the play button, it automatically changes over and does everything we need it to do. Now admittedly, it takes a moment to set up, but it's going to be the same process for any of the music services that you use, whether it's Media or Incast or any of these. When you set them up, you're going to have to set them up, and then you're going to have to create the basics, which is going to be the files that you're going to add to OBS so that you can show the song progress and the song title and all of that other stuff. Once you set it up, it's really cool. It's always going to play in the background, and this works for any music on Spotify. It isn't just national music that's going to get you copyright stricken. Even the stuff that's not copyright music is going to have an album title and an artist that you can show on there. If it's good music, maybe folks will go out there, play it on Spotify, and give those artists a listen, which does get them paid, believe it or not. This is an awesome way to add a little bit of background music to your live stream and entertain your audience. It's very, very cool. And this is really just the beginning, because you can do things where they can request songs and do other stuff, but that's a bit more advanced and not really necessary for this. Really just setting this up is all you need to know. It's really cool stuff. I hope you enjoy it. Now it's time to pull all the visual plugins together to create something absolutely awesome. The final plugin is the freeze filter. And the freeze filter is really cool. It's just clicking on the download, and it is exactly the same as the other ones. You got Linux, Mac, Windows, and a Windows zip. Use the one that's appropriate for you, and the install is exactly like the other ones I've shown you already, so I'm sure you've already got it down pat and by now. Now for this one, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to go into Scene, and I'm going to use another plugin. The link is in the description to this plugin. Basically, we're going to use the source clone. This allows us to clone our camera so that we can do different things with the camera and not have it affect the main camera. So we're going to go ahead and select cam. For this, we do not need the audio. We're going to click OK. So now we have a duplicate of our original camera, but what we do to this one is not going to affect what we did in this one. So in this camera, we're going to go ahead and right click, go to filters. We're going to add a filter, and this particular filter is going to be the freeze filter. And this is pretty simple. We can put 0 for indefinite, but we can add the amount of time and the refresh time, the start delay and the end delay. We can add a mask to our filter and all these other cool, very, very cool things. But we're not going to do that. So activate enables freeze, and we want to go ahead and do that. And deactivate is going to disable freeze, and that's pretty much all we need. So basically how this works is if we right click and we go into filters, when we activate the filter, it will freeze our camera. So there we go. Now we're fine, and when we click freeze, it freezes the shot. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. We're going to go and click the plus, and I'm just going to add some text. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and select our background here. I'm just going to crop it up a little bit. All I'm doing here is holding down the Alt key and cropping it up. So there we go. We have a very simple thing, and we'll move this down. We'll just center it, and we'll move this down and center it right there. And there we go. So now we have our basic scene set up. When we go ahead and we freeze it in filters, that's basically what we're going to get. So it'll hold that as long as we want. We can unfreeze it like this. Now what we want to do is go ahead and put this over here, we're going to click the plus, and we're going to go and we're going to add a scene. And we'll just add scene 3, which is our freeze frame scene. And all I want to do is kind of shrink this up and put it wherever we want it. And so what we want to do is add some other features to this. So I'm going to right click on this. We're going to go into filters. We're going to click the plus, and I'm going to add a stroke to this filter. Click OK. And we can just add a black outline to it. And we'll add a little bit more size. There we go. So it kind of looks a little bit like a picture frame. And then what I'm going to do is click the plus, and I'm going to add some 3D effect to this. And we're going to go and adjust our rotation kind of like that. And we'll move our field of view kind of like that. So there we go. So now when we activate our scene, we'll get a snapshot that will look like that. We could do all kinds of other stuff with this, but we're just going to do the absolute basics. I'm going to go over here to our scene. We're going to go to our clone source and filters, and we're going to just go ahead and turn off the filter, close it, come back in here, and you can see that the camera's actually moving and stuff. We're going to just go ahead and turn it off, and we're going to modify this a little bit. We're going to go back into our source clone and our filters, and we're going to go into freeze, and we're going to change it up down here a little bit, because activate and deactivate is a little bit difficult because we can't change the effect filters without a plugin. So we're going to go ahead and just click none, and we're going to do it based on show and hide. When we show our image and when we hide our image, it's going to disable. So essentially that's the same as controlling it with this right here. So if it's like this, it's disabled. If it's like this, it's frozen. And so then what we're going to do is go ahead and click close. We're going to turn that off. We're going to go back into our scene here, and if we turn it on, we don't see anything obviously because the eyeball is disabled. So we're going to hide that, and we're going to go into our hotkeys, and what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to our scene 3, and we want to set this up with all one hotkey. So we're going to go ahead and set this up to show on the control key, and we're going to set it up to hide on the control key. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our main scene, and we want to show scene 3 on the control key and the control key. And it's telling us that these are all based on the same thing, and that's just fine. We're going to click apply, and there we go. So now if we make a goofy face, there we go. We hit the control key, it comes up with a snapshot. We can make fun of ourselves. We can hit the control key, it goes off again. And if we make another goofy face, we can, and there you go. It's frozen in time, and you just hit the key to freeze it and grab the shot, and there you go. Now you can easily integrate this to make it something that your audience can trigger with some sort of text chat or something like that, to integrate it into a point system. There are all kinds of really cool creative ways to use something like this, and you can build on things like this with all of the tools that I showed you today. They all stack on top of one another to create absolutely incredible effects. Imagine this with a really cool movable mask and text, and you could put glasses on me or whatever you want to do. You can do all kinds of creative stuff by building the visual things that I showed you today. Let me know what you think of these effects down in the comments and how you're going to use them. I really can't wait to see what you guys do with these. And if you want me to show you how you can set up a point system for your YouTube live stream so your audience can trigger some of these absolutely awesome effects, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.